Late Night City with Pete Price.
And now, my story. Real people, real stories.
Ladies and gentlemen, picture the scene. I am at the Panoramic Restaurant, which is one of my favourite restaurants of all time. If I look across from here at Radio City's tower over, I can see at the same level this amazing place. And they were having training. I asked what it was all about because I was fascinated. A very nice young lady spoke to me, and it was about World Host Day. It was about being the host of... And I was trying to get my head around it, and I couldn't understand it. So World Host, I want to know what it was about. I then tracked down, through this young lady, a young man called Mike Mounfield, who I'm talking to right now, who is at Hugh Bird, and he's going to tell us all about it, because he's the assistant principal of the business development. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Pete.
So, can you see my predicament when I got there, wondering what the hell it was all about?
Yeah, I can indeed. WorldHost Training is an initiative that's been around since the Canada Olympics in Vancouver, and it was developed by the organisers and the volunteers of the Olympics to make sure their volunteers, their meeters and greeters, were hosting their visitors to the Olympics in a professional way, and to give the visitors to the Olympics a great impression of Canada and the Vancouver Winter Olympics. The training's been around for a while, and most recently, Liverpool City Region have decided to offer this training to businesses that are front-facing for visitors to Liverpool. And the Hugh Bird College have secured some funding to provide that training on behalf of Liverpool City Region and WorldHost.
Now, what's the purpose of it all, Mike?
The long and short of it, Pete, is to ensure that when people arrive in our great city, that they are greeted by a host that's deemed to have World Host standards.
Now, it's not just about restaurants, is it? It's right across the board.
If you imagine for the work, it is across the board, Pete, and it's for anybody that's working as a host or front facing, and that can be part of the training that we offer. It could be for taxi drivers or for I know there's some organisations doing training for ground crew at the airport, because the training is split. So if you were to step off an aircraft or get off the train at Lime Street, the people who meet you could have had the WorldHost training, and hopefully would give you a welcoming experience of our great city.
Is it to leave people? Is the idea for people to arrive and leave going, oh my goodness?
Yeah, in a nutshell, yeah. So it's, I mean, as part of the course, if the people who come on a course, they should leave the course with techniques to work more effectively with visitors and to improve sales and service levels. And also, as part of the course, it gives people up-to-date information about current events that are coming up in the city, to make them aware of some of the cultural issues associated with events.
Now, let's take an example of Cathy Frost at the Panoramic. Now, there's a very successful restaurant with magnificent views, and they get a lot of cruise ships, a lot of business. They are a very capable, switched-on restaurant with great staff that do a great job. What can you add to it?
I think, for me personally, my background as a chef and working in the hospitality industry, there's always something that staff in hospitality at any level can learn and improve on their skills. So with Cathy's staff, on the WorldHost Customer Service One-Day programme, they would have done technique on hello and welcomes and how to remember individual names. They worked to a module called WOW, which is about first impressions and effective communication. They also include listening skills to make sure you're listening to your guests, to make sure you're giving them the service they desire. So you could argue that there's nothing to learn, but I would argue back that there's always something to learn.
Now, you made a very interesting point, names, and I will be very honest with you in front of all my listeners right now. My biggest problem is names. Do you have a secret?
No, because if anyone's listening to your show that knows me, they'll be laughing, because in my world, everyone's called Chef.
Right.
I'm terrible with names, Pete.
So am I, Mike. So am I. Now, tell me what you actually do at Hugh Bird.
My role, I'm one of the assistant principals, and I look after business development. So this WorldHost Training sits under my department, and I look after a lot of the apprenticeships. But I also look after the L20 Hotel School, which is a revamp of our hospitality department, very popular on Twitter and gaining some great traction across the city with what we're offering hospitality-wise.
Now, I've got to mention it because you mentioned you were a chef. You teach, I presume, now.
Not anymore. I used to teach, Pete, but since coming to this job, I'm more sat at a desk. I don't get knife cuts anymore. It's just paper cuts. Right.
Now, I don't know if you know, I was a chef.
I do know that. Yeah.
Birkenhead Food Technology Department.
Right.
And our little restaurant there, I used to love, where we would cook and wait on alternate weeks, which was great. Are people still coming into the catering business?
They are, and we need more. We need a lot more. The industry, locally, regionally, and nationally, is screaming out for people to come into the industry. There's still this perception that waiting tables and serving behind the bar is a part-time job. It's a great profession that requires great skill.
Do you know, I'm so glad you said that. We get many people on this show saying, I haven't got a job, wants a job, but they've got to be dedicated and they've got to work long hours, haven't they?
They've got to work long hours. But those long hours can be greatly rewarded with lots of people successfully fast-track through this industry and can be earning quite a decent salary with a decent rank if they commit to their hours and they put their effort in, and it's great fun. Now, in my day, it was City and Guilds 150, 151, waiting intermediate final, and a management course. What is it now? The students that come to the L20 Hotel School on a full-time course, they do what we call a VRQ, which is their cookery course, and they do an NVQ, which is their food and drink course. Most students are with us for 2 years, doing the different level qualifications, and probably similar to what you did at college, Pete. They'll spend 1 day in the kitchen, 1 day in the restaurant, and 1 day in the training kitchen, where they're doing the fundamentals and the principles of cookery. And then they do maths and English to support the hospitality sector as well. If you just joined us, I'm talking to Mike Mounfield, who is the Assistant Principal at Business Development at Hugh Bird. It's interesting, Mike, how things have changed. I'm really glad we're talking about cooking. Cooking went through a stage where everything was out of a bag. Yeah. Right now, it's gone right back to my days. Yeah, and that's great. We went through a phase of de-skilling. And people left the industry or were dissatisfied with the industry, and we are going back to great food. And I've spent the last 8 years prior to coming to Hugh Bird College living and working in the Lake District in Kendal, and the food scene there is fantastic. And one of the reasons why I came to Liverpool, I'm from Runcorn, but coming back to Liverpool was because I believe the food scene in Liverpool, which is great, is going to get a lot better, and something's going to erupt. And we will be the focus. Forget Manchester or Leeds. The focus next will be Liverpool. I think I'm so glad you said that because it is an art. And the other thing people don't understand, Mike, you may mention waiting on, you mentioned bartending, you mentioned cooking. If they do it properly, they can travel the world and work anywhere. Yeah, spot on. And with the cruise terminal arriving, we're in talks with the cruise operators because we want to create a course and develop the skills of the people that come to study with us to consider the world of cruise as a job, whether that's again cooking, food service, and even with our departments that look after childcare. There's always jobs on the cruise ships for people to do childcare. So we're now considering how we need to change our curriculum offer and our courses to meet those new businesses that are coming to the city. Now, that's interesting you say that, because as you know, cruising these days is now becoming one of the biggest growth industries in the world. Yeah, definitely. And again, the evolution of the city and what the city offers, and you see the number of cruise ships that are planned to come to the city, it gives a brand new slant on jobs and, again, the food offering, because people stepping off those cruise ships will have an expectation, and if we don't meet that expectation, they'll have an opinion of Liverpool which is probably a wrong one. And part of what we want to do at Hugh Bird College and the L20 Hotel School is make sure we're providing the service staff and the chefs for the restaurants and hotels so they can meet the expectations of their cruise guests. Now, Mike, I've got to ask you a controversial question. Yes, you can teach cooking, but you've got to have a gift as well, haven't you? Yeah, there's parts of cookery in my professional opinion, you can't teach. And from my years of teaching in a kitchen, which is many, presentation is a gift. You can get people to replicate your presentation, but saying to young people or people coming on cookery courses, there's the food, you present it on the plate. There's only a few that get it spot on first time. And when they get it spot on first time, it's not because it's been taught or because they've seen it in a book. They've just got it, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I believe that with hairdressing as well. Yes, you can teach hairdressing, but it is a gift as well.
Yeah.
If what people that are listening now want to find out more about Hugh Baird, how can they?
They can visit the Hugh Baird College website. Just Google Hugh Baird College. And if people want information about WorldHost and to get involved in the WorldHost training, I have a phone number. Can I give that phone number?
You certainly can.
It's 0800 046 7720, and they just need to phone the college and ask for the young lady you met, which is Carla, and she can give them all the information they need about.
We need to do this number again. I'll say it and you tell me if I'm right. 0800.
Yep.
046.
Yep.
7720.
That's the one, Pete.
As we speak, my producer is putting the details up on Radio City's website. If you go to Pete Price's page, there is a thing called the directory. You will find it there. I'll give it you again now, though. It's 0800 046 7720. Just getting back before you leave us about Worldhost. Is there a prize? Is there anything at the end of it?
There is actually. If 50% of employees within a single business complete the WorldHost training, they receive a plaque to say that they've been WorldHost trained. And I believe if there's a certain number of businesses and delegates within the city can get WorldHost recognition. Which would be fantastic, wouldn't it, for Liverpool? It would be.
So to everybody out there, whatever business is listening right now, what do you say to them?
If you're a frontline business and you've got people who are dealing with visitors, whether you're a taxi driver, whether you're food service staff, whether you are at the airport, get your staff WorldHost trained, and we can help you along with other businesses within the city.
Is it costly to have the training?
The training's free, Pete.
Is it costly to have the training?
The training's free.
That's why I asked you twice.
Yeah, it's free of charge.
That's incredible. So anybody out there, to finish off, give us the details again, how they can get in touch with you.
If they phone Hugh Baird College, either by using the college phone number, or you can get direct to Carla, the young lady that organises it all for the Business Development Centre, on 0800 046 7720.
And to finish off, anybody out there who is thinking about going into the catering industry, who's thinking about being a barman, who's thinking about being a waiter, and for some reason or other in this country we've got to think about waiters. When I was a waiter, I did all right financially. I cleaned up. What's your message to them?
Come along, visit our website, or come along to the college. If you want to come along and have a behind-the-scenes tour of our fantastic hospitality department, you're more than welcome.
I remember when I was at Birkenhead Technology, which is the food technology department, which is no longer there anymore. I remember the restaurant. The food was spectacular, and of course everything's made from the roux to the soup to everything is just made, and people never used it as much as they would. But now they'd snap your hand off.
We have a strong relationship with Nigel Howarth, the Michelin-starred chef, who's often on the telly, and he sets our spec, and we work very closely with him. So if we're dropping below the standard, he certainly tells us.
It would be brilliant if we could get WorldHost.
It would. It would.
Mike Mounfield, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you very much, Pete.
Late Night City.